All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode 2 of Story Analyst. Today we'll be covering Rockets preseason schedule, some improvements that they made last season, some things that can change as they have two crucial games in the season as they determine how well this team develops year. With first up, the Memphis Grizzlies, and then the Dallas Mavericks. So last season, we seen Jalen Green start off averaging around 20 points in November, had a few good games against Philly, the Nuggets. Then a bad December. Had a decent January, and then we got to see what he was really made of in March, where he averaged about 27.7 points. He scored 34 against the Phoenix Suns that had KD, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. Then 37 and 42 against the Wizards with Kyle Kuzma and Tyus Jones. Follows that up later down in March with a 34-point game against Utah. So, however, he needs to improve his field goal percentage from 42% to at least 45 to 46. He needs to improve his three ball to somewhere around the 35%. His free throw shooting just needs to be somewhere around 80 to 90%. And his scoring can increase to like 22, 23. Because even though we got a veteran in Van Fleet that has an NBA championship from Toronto, we have seen Van Fleet kind of take a backseat to Jalen Green and just focusing on what he normally does. In March, saw a little outbreak of Van Fleet, which I hope he brings into the next season. Because I think even though Van Fleet is not he's not a 25-point-a-game scorer, he knocks down the three ball very well, and he play makes, and he shows a lot of intensity on defense. And I know Jalen Green's a shooting guard, but he could learn a little bit from Van Fleet. Our best pick in years that I've seen, Reed Shepherd. I watched a few of his summer league highlights, and I was just amazed. The guy can score at all three levels. He has a nasty mid-range. Yeah, his game is, I compare it to like an old school guard. You know, he shoots a couple off-balance shots. He makes quick decisions. His passes are very simple also. So that's the next thing to point out. It's no flashy passes like Ja Morant or nothing like that. His game is very simple. And he performs in big games, which was seen at Kentucky. We saw the improvements of Jabari Smith and Amon Thompson towards the end of the season in terms of scoring, defense, moving efficiently in the transition, which is the growth that I love to see from the young guys. Next, we're going to transition to the matchup with the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis did not have one of the most unguardable players in the league, and Ja Morant, that gives them at least 25 to 27 points a game and 6 to 8 assists. Highlight reels of dunks, steals, shooting, you name it. And then a 40% shooter in Desmond Bane that also injury derailed part of his season that can put a lot of pressure on opposing team defenses. Then you bring in, so you force JJ to step up from being a 14 to 17 points a game and focusing on defense to being a main scorer. Memphis upgraded the bench in the 23 draft with G.G. Jackson, Vince Williams Jr. They also had Scotty and Santi. And then, as we all know, one of the league's sharpshooters, Luke Kennard. And acquiring a pesky maker before the season in Marcus Smart, whose season also was derailed by injuries. Now they're back healthy. And we, the Rockets, have to see them. And they have all this size, all this skill, scoring. Most of their guys play defense. Most of our guys play defense, but we have one guy in particular who doesn't know how to play defense, and he's a very key component of our team. And this is where I talk about Sengun. Sengun is very great offensively, but on defense, he struggles with some of the league's best big men. What I mean by big men, centers, power forwards. This is a problem. G.G. Jackson is young, but he has a lot of poise in his game. Vince Williams is a Swiss Army knife. So, even if Memphis switch out the starting lineup and they just put in G.G., and if Derrick Rose is not healthy and Scottie Pippen gets to play, Scottie Pippen plays defense. He has grown ever since the Lakers Summer League. So this is not the same Scottie Pippen Jr. a couple years ago. So Memphis has really put in work. The Rockets put in work too. You know, Jabari Smith, at times, I love this progression. I love seeing him average 15 points a game in April. I loved it. But also, to make his game a little bit efficiently, he needs to stop settling for threes sometimes. Drive to the basket. However, as he grows in years of experience, his game should evolve on the offense end. Memphis, the key points to this Memphis game: stopping Ja and Bane, making Marcus Smart uncomfortable than he's used to. He is not a 15 to 20 point game scorer. JJ sometimes takes erratic shots. He's known for his defense. As evidence, he's always on the defensive player list. And then you force the young guys to have to step it up, which they already are. But I think this is where the Rockets could thrive. If Sengun learns to slide his feet well and guard big men, we have guys to lock on to Santi and Gigi when they come in the game. Because Amon Thompson plays hard defense. Tari Eason plays defense. Jabari Smith plays defense. Dylan Brooks plays defense. FEV plays defense. Reed Shepherd can play defense. So, it's a tough matchup on paper. However, if the Rockets play their cards right, even if they don't win, they have the tools to make this matchup tougher than it is. Next, Luka just got the taste slapped out of his mouth by the Celtics on a run to the NBA Finals, which is quite funny because I know a lot of skeptics may say, well, he had 8-time All-Star, which Kyrie in his prime is probably going to give you 20 to 25 points a game and probably about 4 to 5 assists on average. Now, the two best stretches of the playoffs for Luka and Kyrie together to show their dominance was the Clippers series, where they lost game 1, but they won game 2, 3, 5, and 6. And the Minnesota series, where they showed class, absolute class. Luka had about 30 a game. Kyrie had, somewhere around 20-something a game. In the OKC series, he was limited because OKC has a defense identity. He had to do more assisting of the ball. But we saw a great change that shifted everything for this team in this run. Picking up P.J. Washington from Charlotte Hornets and Daniel Gafford from the Washington Wizards, and acquiring an NBA draft pick in Derek Lively II. These guys all play defense and crash the boards. PJ is just the cherry on top of the bunch because PJ can be a third or fourth scorer in games that really matter. He scored 27, 29, and 21 versus OKC in the playoffs. Then they add Klay Thompson after the season, who is a 5-time All-Star, shoots about 41.3% from the three-point line, and average about 20 to 22 in his prime. So the Rockets has to deal with all of that. We need Dylan Brooks on Luka. We need to do switches between Amen and Jabari Smith on Klay and Kyrie, forcing the game to go into PJ's hands, and it may also have to go on to another guy who had a decent career in Dallas off the bench to Dinwiddie and Lively and Gafford to step up to win the game. Jalen Green is going to have to be aggressive because the Mavericks are going to throw everything at him. And Klay Thompson, he's a shooter. Luka and Kyrie, they're creative scorers. PJ could punish you from the three if you don't defend it well. The Rockets